On today's show, which teams are actual title contenders and where do the Mavs fall in our tiers of the entire NBA? We'll talk about that and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away. I'm not playing. I'm watching, just like you guys.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day, whether they win or lose, whether the coach is coaching or not. Thanks for being part of the show and making Locked On Mavs your first listen each and every day. We are free and available on all podcast platforms, including YouTube, where the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and to comment anything below. Yesterday, the post-Lakers game episode, 530 comments.
I bet those were enjoyable.
As part of my job for Locked On, I manage the YouTube channels for the entire network, and that would be the most on like any video that anybody has done ever on the rest of them. For us, it's not, because several other nuts things have happened to the Mavs, but that would be the most for like some channels won't get 530 comments in a week or a month.
Well,
that's how crazy that Lakers game was. Joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, contributor at Mavs.com, the comment curator, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Comment curator. Are you in on Nerlens' return?
Wow,
I need to know.
Your boy.
I need to know.
How?
It was so funny because I just told this Nerlens Rick story today to somebody, but would you be in on a Nerlens return?
How fitting is it that Rick Carlisle returns to the AAC today, Tuesday, if you listen to this and watching this on Tuesday, and Nerlens Noel is available, the Mavs could bring him back. He could be in the building.
Me, Nerlens, Rick,
wow, all back in the same building at the same time. Hey, that's a throwback. That's a throwback for the Raccoon Squad right there.
How much would y'all give me to go to the pregame press availability for Rick Carlisle and ask him if they're going to sign Nerlens?
You know, like Detroit just sent Nerlens to go hot dogging around over there with the Pistons, and they just decided they didn't want him to play. Like, is that a player that you guys would be interested in?
Would you play him? You know, could you see him getting some playing time for you guys?
In the comment section below, comment what tier you would put the Mavs in right now. We're going to do our tiers today. This is our rankings of every team in the NBA. Which ones we think are title contenders, which ones we think are just down a little bit. And we give them little names. We like to do this. And it's kind of an exercise to try and see where we realistically think the Mavs are right now this season. Because there's been a lot said, you know, the Kevin O'Connor tweet from The Ringer where he says, the Mavs are not title contenders. They don't have depth. They don't have defense. I just imagine him screaming it like into his phone.
They're not Boston.
They don't. Yeah, they're not a perfect team. Like, yeah, no, like nobody is saying that they were before this. But he said they're not really a real contender. So what do we think about it? So let's get into it. My tier one. Let's just start here.
Dang, we're hopping in quick.
We're hopping in. It's just tiers. Who we think are the best teams in the NBA. I don't even necessarily say like, I don't know, this team should win the rank to win the title. I just say these are the best teams right now.
I mean, yeah, I viewed the first group as legit title contenders. That these teams will be the ones that will be favored the most, that you would not be shocked at all if they won the title.
Yeah. Give me your first tier.
I have 4 teams in it.
I only have 3.
Yeah, I have the 2 teams in the East, Boston and Milwaukee, and then obviously Denver, and then I had to put the Suns in. And wow. I know all the stuff, wow. But
Brendan will be so proud of you on Locked On Suns.
It hurts my soul because, but it's like, they're healthy.
I think I've been indoctrinated. I think I've been indoctrinated enough by this fan base and by this city. I've lived here long enough now that I rationally think the Mavs could still beat the Suns in a series.
It's just KD was, MVP candidate playing in Brooklyn this year, and now he's going to go play with, Booker and Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. So I think they're going to, when they're healthy, they're going to have the best roster. So
That is really interesting that the Suns would be in there. The Mavs are not my tier 1. Nuggets, Celtics, Bucks are up there. The Nuggets, sneakily, they're the 13th best defense in the NBA. We were really concerned about their defense. All of a sudden, they've become one of the top defenses, or top 15 defenses in the NBA right now. Also, have you seen Jokic's on-off numbers recently?
I saw him for last month or this month, and it was
this
wild.
season, according to Cleaning the Glass, the Nuggets are 26.8 points per 100 possessions better when Jokic is on the court than when he's off. That's insane. Luka's is 7. Embiid's is like 12. It's so crazy. The Celtics, 3rd in offense, 5th in defense, but they're 4 and 5 in overtime games. I don't know what that means, but that to me just is a number that stood out.
It's not a stat that I'm.
So many overtime games though. 9 overtime games. The Bucks, 18th in offense, 1st in defense. Their offense has been a problem this year, and I can't put them a tier lower because when the foursome of Giannis, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, and Brook Lopez have been together. They played only 11 games this year. They have a 23 net rating. Like, that's just insane. They're just really good when they're together. And if they can get together for a run, I think I might still pick them just to win it.
Yeah, they'd be my pick right now to win it over the other teams. And obviously hope the Nuggets, do well outside of playing Dallas. They'd probably be the team in the West that I'd root for. But yeah, I think it's the Bucks right now is my pick. But for me, it's those 4 teams. There's a group after that.
Yeah.
That is for me, I labeled it as the wouldn't be surprising group. Like for me, there's 3 teams in this group that they don't have the overall. I don't know. I just can't put them in that top 4 for me.
Yeah.
But if they won the title, I wouldn't be like super shocked either.
You would say they're a tier below.
I would say they're just a tier below.
Yeah, correct.
And for me, those 3 teams are Philly, Golden State, and the Clippers.
Wow. Okay, so we have the same top 7 here because I put the Suns in that group. I called this group the have talent, need to prove it. Like, there's a couple things that each of these teams need to prove.
Oh, the Warriors need to prove it.
The Warriors, I put them in there just because of the title defend, like just as a courtesy that they're a title defender. And also, the Warriors starters have still been great. When Curry plays and when the starters all play together, the starters have been great. Their bench has been terrible. Well, guess what happens in the playoffs? You limit all the bench players and you only play like 2 or 3 guys off the bench, and that'll help the Warriors a lot. I have the Suns down here because I have 2 questions about them. Their perimeter defense and what's Chris Paul doing? Like, what is he doing in all of this? Like, where does he come into play, and what shape is he in? Right? He's like 38. He's getting to the end. We thought he was done this year. Now all of a sudden, Kevin Durant joins him, and they're like, "Oh, it's a super team. You got all these guys." I mean, I'm still curious about what Chris Paul is doing on this team. We saw him in last year's playoffs. If you can make him work, he just is nothing. And so, can another team what the Mavericks did to him last year? Can another team do that? And then can Booker and Durant be good enough to win them? Probably yes.
I was gonna say.
Probably,
yes. That's the thing. It's like, no. I mean, even if Chris Paul does look a step slower,
but
I mean, they have arguably the best duo in the league. It probably is.
Arguably, yeah, you can say arguably. But then if Booker and Kevin Durant are like doing the legwork on defense, but if they're not, then all of a sudden it's a Kogi and Torrey Craig, and like that's not good enough.
Terrence Rose
to win a title if that's your defense. Clippers, there 2 questions are: can Kawhi stay on the court? He's been awesome. That Kings game the other day, he was just lights out, even though they lost that game. By the way, the Clippers are 0-2 since the All-Star break and signing Westbrook. They've scored 299 points and lost both games.
Wow.
And Paul George has been like weirdly bad late in games. He's had some weird turnover stuff. He had him in that game against the Kings. Darian Vaziri of Locked On Clippers has talked about that a lot. Like, Paul George has just been weird. So I have big questions about that. But that's our top 7. Like, solidified. Those are the teams. I think those are the teams we comfortably wouldn't be surprised if any of those teams made the finals again, right? And so coming up, that means we still haven't talked about the Mavericks. Where do the Mavericks rank in this? And what holes do the Mavericks have that they can fill up possibly? We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Built Bar. Built Bar is a protein bar. It tastes like a candy bar. They're absolutely delicious. Isaac, what's your favorite flavor of Built Bar?
Coconut brownie chunk.
Oh, that one is so good. They have not remade that bar the way that it first was when I first tasted it. But the brownie batter
But
puff,
it's still really good.
it was still really good. They have different kinds now. They have cookie dough chunk puff. They have regular coconut almond. They just don't have the OG like that. But they still have some great bars, low in calories, high in protein. For example, my favorite bar, the brownie batter puff, 140 calories, 17 grams of protein, 6 grams of sugar. Go check it out at Sam's Club or Walmart. Get yourself a box. And you can check out built.com. Use the promo code LOCKED15 or locked on. Go check those out. And go check out built.com. All right, Isaac Harris, thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen each and every day and every post game. We are here for you throughout the offseason, too. 5 days a week, all through the offseason. We've been doing it 4 years. We've been doing like 5 days a week.
I feel like, I don't know, time's running together at this point.
I think the first couple years we went down to like 3 or something in the offseason, but the last couple,
like August, September.
Yeah, last couple years we've been doing 5. So let's do the rest of our tiers here. So I have a third tier. I'm calling this tier, they're playing spoiler because they just got too many holes, but they're playing spoiler. I think any of these teams could beat. I think any of these teams could beat 1 or 2 of the teams in that top 7 that we talked about. In this group, I have the Grizzlies. I have the Cavs, who I kind of feel like are in a similar category here. I have the Kings in this one. I have the Knicks. I have the Heat. And I have the Mavericks.
I'm fascinated now because we have a couple teams that's just way off.
Okay.
And I'm fascinated by this.
Okay.
I don't even know where to start. Okay. First off, I had this group as a group of 2, and I called it.
Well, I just expanded my tier then. Basically.
Well, there's one of your teams that you have in there. I have like 3 tiers below. I called this group the hitting puberty group. And it was just Cleveland and Memphis.
Okay.
And you even said a while ago, they're kind of in the same category.
Yeah, if I was to split it up, it would be them. I think I would put the Mavs in this group if it was just those 2.
Well, see, this is where I really struggle with it because I know if they played right now in a series, Memphis, Dallas, I'm taking Dallas.
Yes.
Like, hands down.
Yes.
I'm not scared of Memphis. I know,
but if
I'm
it's
going to get
Memphis,
screwed by it.
If it's Memphis Warriors, Memphis Clippers, Memphis Suns, Memphis Nuggets, right? Like,
I'm taking all the other teams.
So it's just a Memphis thing.
Yeah, well, it's just like, but I think they have a collective like bigger resume and I like a lot of their like roster more. I would say that's why I kind of
okay. But what's their resume? They were good against the Warriors last year in the second round before Ja Morant went down, or
it feels like up until like this recent stretch where they've been struggling, they just seem like a more consistent team. And I could be falling victim to, hey, we watch the Mavs every night, and it feels like there's a lot of inconsistency in all of that. But it's weird because I put the Grizzlies in a tier above them right now. But if they played in the series, I would say Dallas would beat them.
Which is why I call this group playing spoiler, because I think any of these teams could beat some of the teams above. Like, I think if
you got to give me the Knicks thing, because I have the Knicks 4 tiers or 3 tiers below this. Why do you have the Knicks so high?
What do you mean so high? The Knicks this year are 36-27. They're a good team.
I know, but like, how many teams are you saying that they're? I just don't understand. Like, I think that they're gonna like do good to like be the 6th seed and not be in a play-in. I mean, I guess
what's their biggest hole?
Defense.
They do struggle on defense. So do a lot of it. So do the Mavericks. So do a bunch of other teams above them right now.
Yeah, and even like in a playoff series, are you saying, hey, like Randall, you got this, bro?
No, it's Brunson.
I know it's Brunson. I know how good Brunson is.
We can't crap on Brunson. Well, we just watched him beat the Jazz last year for like 3 games. We know he's going to take. We know his game takes a step up, and he can against a team like that. And he's been awesome this year.
I'm also not ready to put him on the same like category as, Bam or Jimmy Butler in the playoffs either.
Anyway. No, but he has Randall, and I think he at least has somebody else there with him that can do stuff.
Okay, who are your other teams in that?
It was Grizzlies, Cavs, Mavs, Kings. If I was to split it up, I would probably put those 4 teams, and then Knicks and Heat are probably like the next tier.
I have the Kings a couple tiers below too.
A couple tiers below.
Well, okay. I mean, I'll just go ahead and say my next tier. My next tier is 2 is greater than 1. And this is the tier for me. That's what I call it. 2 is greater than 1. I called it this because these are teams that have a very powerful duo that if everything hits right, that they go into a series and the two players on their teams could be 2 of the best 3 players in the series. To where like, and this is where I have Dallas, I have Miami, and this pains me to say, but I have the freaking Lakers. And before I heard the LeBron news, whatever. But assuming like LeBron's healthy, I'll put this out right now. If the Lakers win in the play-in series and they play the Kings in round 1, how confident are you that the Kings are coming out of that?
0%.
I'm not confident either.
I'm 9% confident, and I think, So
it's kind of like Miami for me too, to where like if Miami played the Knicks in a playoff series, I'm picking Miami every single time. So
Miami over the Knicks.
And Dallas, this is one of those things too, where like let's say Dallas play like Denver in the first round, and everything clicks for Dallas. Kyrie and Luka could be 2 out of the best 3 players in that series, with Jokic, or you go down the line with some of these things where like Kyrie and Luka is that good that they got a duo that can carry them deep into the playoffs. And I know that we get so wrapped up, and we could stay on Dallas here for a second, but like we're getting so wrapped up in all the stuff about this team right now, and the defense and the rebounding, and it's all like minuses for them. I get it.
It's all bad. It's all holes.
But you are going to be able to walk into the playoffs with one of the best duos in the entire NBA of 2 guys that can go at I was just having this conversation today, and we're talking about all the negative stuff about the Mavs, like Mavs right now. And it's like, I know, going through all of them. I was like, but you know what? Get us in a playoff series. That's a 7-game series. And it's going to be really tough for me to bet against them because of the level that Kyrie and Luka can go to. Their ceilings, as individual players, is so much higher than almost like anybody. Like it's higher than Jamal Murray. Like it's higher than Devin Booker. Like it's higher than some of these guys in the West that they're playing. Like the level that I think Kyrie and Luka could get to, it's higher than Paul George's level. Like that's how high of a level that both of these guys can get to.
Are we sure it's not higher than Durant? Have we seen Durant non-Warriors go to?
Yeah, he was pretty good in that Milwaukee series.
Okay, just saying.
The toe on the line.
Okay, just saying.
Well, Durant's still really good.
Just saying. That's an injury ago. Just saying.
I know, but
we're poking the bear with the Grizzlies and the Suns right now.
I'm not poking any bear with the Suns. I think when they're healthy, they're going to be pretty dang good. Memphis, sure, we'll poke
Isaac,
the bear
it's
with
a
that.
we. It's a we. You see this logo? You see this logo down there in the corner? That says Locked On Mavs. That's both of us.
People do get us confused with some of our takes sometimes, and it's always funny.
Why do you hate Christian Wood? Me.
And I'm like, me, it's him.
Can the Mavericks do anything the rest of the way to get themselves in that second tier? Because right now we both kind of have them at 3 or 4 kind of tier.
Yeah, I have them in the 4th tier. I don't know. Like the question that you're asking the other day on the pod of like, hey, they got 20 games to basically figure this defense out. Can they figure it out? All this stuff. I'm just not as confident in the personnel that they're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think this personnel is going to be able to figure out a lockdown defense. I don't think we're going to have a stretch and it's like, man, look over these past 5 games. They've locked in and they're just killing people defensively. I just don't think they have the personnel for that. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't win games. Doesn't mean that they can't win some playoff series. Doesn't mean any of that. Like, I think that because I think the level that Luka and Kyrie can go at, and I believe that open shots they're going to be able to create with Reggie Holiday and all those guys, I think that they will be able to make do just like they did last year against Utah and Phoenix.
Okay, so go over your tiers again and like end with where the Mavs are, and then coming up we'll get into our next ones.
Yeah, I have the title contenders: Boston, Milwaukee, Denver, and Phoenix. After that, I have the wouldn't be surprising if they won it group: Philly, Golden State, and Los Angeles Clippers. Then I had the hitting puberty group in Cleveland and Memphis, and then I had the 2 is greater than 1 group, and that's where I have Dallas, Miami, and the Lakers.
You convinced me to rethink my tiers here. Here are my tiers here. I have title or bust. Tier 1, Nuggets, Celtics, Bucks. Tier 2, they have the talent. They got to prove it. Sixers, Suns, Clippers, Warriors. Tier 3, playing spoiler. A lot of holes. Grizzlies, Cavs, Mavs, Kings. Coming up, Tier 4 and Tier 5 for us. Who are the teams on the back end? And then we'll talk about some more of those Mavericks holes and if they can cover up any of them coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates for your job that you have posted. If you're a hiring manager, you know, and I know that if you have a small group, every single person in that group is vital. Like, they can be the difference between a good defense or a bad defense on the Mavs. They can be the difference between a thriving offense or an offense that doesn't have any spacing. That can be the same as what you have at your job. Go to LinkedIn Jobs, add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so that you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, Isaac Harris, let's talk about the rest of our tiers in the NBA. Just went over them. I got tier 4. They got stuff going on. Like, these teams have big, huge questions, drama, something happening with their team, a big fatal flaw that I think could sink them. I threw the Knicks.
This is my biggest group, by the way.
I threw the Knicks down here. I threw the Heat down here. I may put the Heat. Well, I don't know. They got big flaws.
I'm still not betting against Miami though.
The Heat aren't confident with their team. Like, even locked on Heat guys. But yeah, I think I would still. But anyway, so the Knicks' fatal flaw, by the way, is defense in the clutch. 118.6 defensive rating in the clutch. That's really bad. That's like bottom 5 in the NBA. That's a big fatal flaw. They still got to figure that out. I got the Hawks. They just sent their coach gone. Bye-bye.
David's
Young.
boy Quinn coming in.
Quinn Snyder, can he fix all this? Can he fix the Trae Young stuff? I don't know. Maybe. He's a really good coach. I put the Lakers here. They should be in tier 3, but the LeBron injury today made me push him down because I don't know. He heard a pop and he played through it. That to me is just that's
pretty miraculous.
Well, it's LeBron. I mean, he kind of like tightens his shoelaces and he just like walks out and does whatever. He's made of adamantium. Raptors, I have them in here. Are they back? Is it too late for them to be back? They're 4-2 since they added Pirtle.
I'm not wanting to play them either.
But here are their wins: Detroit, Orlando, New Orleans, and their losses are against the Cavs and the Jazz. I wouldn't want to play them, but I don't think they have enough time to put it all together. Pelicans, Wolves, and Blazers I have in this tier.
Dang, you got a lot of teams in this one.
You said that this was your biggest one.
Yeah, I have 5 teams in there. I call this the too short for the ride group. Like, they're just not there. They just can't get on the ride.
Trae Young's in this group.
And I have the Hawks. I have the Raptors, Pelicans, Wolves, and the Kings.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I just can't. Like, my rule of thumb with some of this, I'm contradicting myself with the Dallas Grizzlies thing, but like, if the Kings play the Lakers, I'm probably going to pick the Lakers. If the Kings play Dallas or Memphis or any of these teams above them, like, I'm probably pretty comfortably going to pick the other team. I hope they prove me wrong, just because I love watching them play. I love Light the Beam, and I want to see them win a playoff series.
He's trying to cover the beam. Don't hide your beam under a bushel, Isaac.
I'm gonna let it shine. But no, I mean that's my group right there. So
you don't even have the Knicks in that group.
No, I don't.
Man,
I just think they're kind of frauds. Like, it's like, you win some games. I think Brunson's had a good year. Randall's had a good year, but there's not a ton of teams that I'm like picking them over in a playoff series. I'm sorry. I'm just not getting hyped over, Quentin Grimes.
Not a fan.
I think they use RJ Barrett really weird. I think they trade him this offseason. I mean, I just don't. Yeah.
I think their destiny is to get destroyed in that 4-5.
Okay, so let me go to the next one. The next group I have is the awkward middle schooler. Like we always we always we all went through the awkward weird stage in middle school. This is where I have the Knicks. I have the Knicks, Nets, Blazers, Wizards, and Bulls.
I have a very similar type of group. This group is we're here for a good time, not a long time. Nets, Jazz, Wizards, Bulls, Pacers, Thunder, Magic. Like I just threw all those teams in there to kind of
crap.
We're just hanging out. Like, hey, by the way, the Magic have been good.
Yeah, I love them.
But they're not around for a long time. Like if they can make a furious run for the play-in, but I think they're definitely above that tier, like the bottom tier that I have here. But
oh god, the bottom tier is horrible.
these teams are just here for a good time. The Nets are I call the Nets the first round exit team. Like just
they're gonna capture the hearts of so many people though. Like Jacques Vaughn gets the extension or he gets the interim tag.
Yeah.
You know, I think he got an extension too, right, or something. But you know, people love Jacques Vaughn. You know, the team who traded Kyrie and KD, everybody's gonna love them, get them into the playoffs. Like it's just, yeah, they're gonna get beat, but still, it'll be a lot of fun. I have the next group called the Plummeters, and
the Mason Plummeters.
I put the Pacers and the Jazz in this group. Y'all had fun at the beginning of the season. You had an all-star.
Did your fans and your media members did their victory laps and then fell off of that?
You accomplished what you want to accomplish, and now you know they're losing games and they're going towards the bottom. I hope they try to lose games tonight, like the Pacers.
Although they do have a center, so
that's true. Then the next group I called the Frisky and Fun group, and that's Orlando and OKC.
Okay, there you go. I like that one.
Yeah, and then I'm assuming we both have the same 4 teams.
Yeah, the 4 teams at the bottom. Another level of awful is what I called them.
The tank generals.
The Hornets, Pistons, Spurs, and Rockets. That's another level.
Who has the bleakest future right now?
Jackson Gatlin today on Locked On Rockets was arguing whether Dacian Nix or Ty Washington should get more playing time. It's them.
But they at least have pieces though, right? Like
Dacian Nix took 19 shots for them the other day.
Well, they're really trying hard for Wemby, but I put the Pistons kind of at the top of this group. Cade, I like some of the pieces. Yeah. Even the Rockets, like they have pieces that I kind of like. Like I like Jabari and Şengün, whatever. I struggle hard with the Hornets and Spurs, man. Like, I don't know.
The Hornets were in the play-in 2 years in a row, and now all of a sudden, just
the bad thing about the Hornets is they actually have money on their books to players that just doesn't mean anything to them.
Yeah, and the Miles Bridges thing. I mean, the Miles Bridges. You have to say if you're talking about how the Hornets have fallen off, the Miles Bridges thing hurts them really bad.
Yeah, and then yesterday LaMelo got hurt again, but it's. At least they have LaMelo. Like you look at Spurs and it's like, hey, like,
they're getting Wembanyama.
If you have a kid who wants a jersey, like who are you buying the kid the jersey for right now? Keldon Johnson?
The league has promised. You're doing
an NBA ID of Wembanyama.
They've got the frozen envelope, the frozen ping pong balls. They've got them.
I'd say Scoot. I'm really a big fan of Scoot. So I'm not ready to zag, but I might get closer. I zagged pretty hard for Ja over Zion, but I got to do more research before.
Wembanyama, like, have we ever seen when's the last like 7'4" guy we've seen like not get hurt that wasn't built like a tank like Gobert, that went super high? It feels like a lot of them that go super high. It's like Yao Ming. Who am I thinking of? I mean, we just saw Chet. Go down.
I mean, Porzingis, but he wasn't.
Porzingis
one, but it also goes down to like if you're the GM, it's like, what are you going to keep your job? Like if you pass on Wembanyama,
no, you can't.
No, you can't. It's like Zion. Like even if you like Ja more,
for sure,
like,
and he'll be great when he plays for sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So anyway, there you go, Dallas. What 5 or 6? Could they go on a run towards the end of the season and it changes some of our minds and all of that?
Again?
Sure. But it also goes down to what I said earlier. If they place a lot of these teams in the West, it's going to be hard for me not to talk myself into, unless something, I mean, I don't know, unless Kyrie just, quits and goes somewhere, like it would take something drastic for me to not, feel confident going into a playoff series, with those two guys. And that's why you make a trade for Kyrie Irving,
For sure.
to raise your ceiling as a team. So,
Yep. The Mavs have a kind of a low floor and a high ceiling, right? That's where we are right now.
yeah. And even if they played the Warriors again or the Clippers again, like, you're walking into that series, at least I'm walking into it a little bit more confident than I did last year.
You play the Warriors in a 7-game series now. Are you feeling more confident or less?
More
than last year?
for sure.
That's crazy.
Because you have the experience under your belt. You've played them before. And you also have a guy who has played them and beat them in the finals before in Kyrie.
And you know what, Isaac?
People forget about Frank.
They do forget about Frank. And
Touche.
if they make it to the conference finals again, we're all just going to be standing there watching them like JC Kidd.
I'm not playing. I'm watching, just like you guys.
I went on Locked On Pacers today, and I threw that drop in one of my answers. And I was just thinking through all the drops we have. Think about how many insane drops we have from this year of Mavs figures talking to you or me. Like, specifically you or me. Like, we have this.
I'm not playing. I'm watching, just like you guys.
That was to me. We got this classic.
Good morning, Isaac.
That was last year. This one.
Nick, that's a good question.
This one from last year with Reggie Bullock.
I have to apologize that you felt that he should have played more.
That was a great one.
This classic from Nico.
Explain yourself.
Sorry.
He said that to you.
That was at 2:00 in the morning. Get off me.
This one from Kyrie is actually to me.
Touche.
You can hear me in the back.
Touche.
This one, this forget about Frank that I see on Reddit NBA and I see on Reddit Mavs all the time on Reddit was to us.
People forget about Frank.
Now, Cuban said it to other people, but Nico said it to us. All that stuff was said to us this year. Oh man.
So I want to, be able to touch the car.
That's the analogies are incredible.
Was this one?
I don't always tell you guys the truth.
That was to the media in general.
I was gonna say I can't remember if that was to you.
Probably to McMahon.
Probably this one.
Twitter isn't the coach or the player.
That's great.
That one's not specifically to us, but
I hope he addresses Instagram next.
Let us know. Let us know in the comment section what tier would you have the Dallas Mavericks in, and how could they get to another tier? Let us know in the comment section below. Go check out Locked On NBA Game to Game. It's every moment, every top performance, every result from local experts like us. Locked On NBA Game to Game on the Locked On NBA YouTube channel and podcast feed. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.